this is Rhinestone Angel, and today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite lighters that I've rhinestoned so far. It's a hobby that I picked up last August, and I decided I really liked lighters as a canvas. They're small, they're cheap, and they're fun to show off, and that's exactly what I'm going to do today. The lighters I'll be discussing are my favorites, but are by no means a complete list of all the lighters I've made, or things I've bedazzled, I guess. I filmed the footage a while ago, but the audio was terrible, so there's going to be a lot of pointing and gesturing that doesn't really match what I'm saying, but I just want to jump in, so let's get started. First up, and the second lighter that I ever finished, is my rainbow lighter. I actually found this lighter on a bench by a bus stop and grabbed it to take home and recycle. I quickly learned that making straight lines with rhinestones can be tough. To clarify, I craft these lighters with glue, tweezers, and a hell of a lot of patience. So small imperfections are pretty typical. But I also figured that given it's a rainbow lighter, it kind of works that it's not straight. And on the back side, you see I did a flower pattern that's another sort of rainbow gradient. And I was so proud of this lighter when I finished it that I literally took it to bed with me that night, like to sleep with, because I just loved it so much. This lighter is a Clipper brand lighter, which is refillable through the bottom, as I point out in the video. I did an orange and blue, like, sort of flower design here. I like that the clippers are more eco-friendly, but the size and shape of them are more difficult to, like, do complicated designs on. Plus the spine can be difficult to cover in rhinestones, since there are so many edges and might mess up, like, pictures or something. On this one, I left the spine blank because it matched well with the pattern, and I love orange, so something about this lighter gives me, like, aquatic vibes, like they look like little sand dollars. Now, this is very exciting for me to talk about because my eyeball lighter might be my #1 favorite to this day. I used a couple different shades of blue for the iris. I used teeny tiny crystals to give the eye some veins for like a bloodshot effect. The eye itself isn't totally symmetrical, but real eyes aren't always either. When I finished it, I loved it so much that I decided just to fill the rest in with like black and a couple spots of red and purple just because I wanted to keep the focus on the eye. This is the lighter that lives in my purse. This is the lighter I'm reaching for if I need to use one. I do believe that if anyone swipes one of my one of my lighters, it'll be this one. I am known to have a few and basically wave it around on a night out, so it's honestly only a matter of time. Next, I got the idea for a playing card lighter, and this one is an Ace of Spades. And overall, I love how it came out. It's not totally perfect. Like I said earlier, straight lines are just tough. And I almost gave myself an aneurysm doing the border and the pattern on the back. And the pattern in particular could use a lot of work. I actually made an Ace of Hearts lighter that I gave away where I was able to fix a lot of my mistakes. Um, so, I know I learned a lot from doing this lighter, and I might make a club and a diamond like of spades lighters later to complete the set, but honestly, I don't really like repeating my ideas too much. I kind of just find it boring, so we'll see on that front. Now, this one I finished around Halloween, and I love Mr. Spider. I think he turned out great. You'll see the web that reaches around to the front is expanded on the back. I ended up giving it an asymmetrical design, and you can see the little cluster of eggs that I put near the bottom. I love this lighter overall, again, but I just know all the details that I attempted that just didn't end up working out, unfortunately. I made a few tiny bugs out of micro rhinestones that basically disappeared once the glue dried. I had a little butterfly stuck in the web and a green ant that the spider was hunting on the front. The micro rhinestones didn't have a backing on them. I show in the video an example of a rhinestone with a good backing, so they just blended into the black color of the lighter, basically. But it's still cool, and it was definitely a good learning experience again. By this point, I had been feeling like everything I was making was like really dark. So this sunny day lighter was a great change of pace. I did a sun on one side and then clouds on the other. The clouds are very cute, but they're a little hard to see. I prefer designs with a little more contrast, like on the front, like where the sun is. And although I did have some people tell me that the sun was had kind of a threatening aura to it, but I'm honestly not mad at that, so this one's still definitely a favorite. This lighter I actually finished over Thanksgiving, so I am willing to bedazzle on the go. I call it the Under the Sea lighter, since it's basically just a cute collection of sea creatures hanging out together. I have a clam at the bottom, two starfish, and a redfish on the front. The redfish was actually a late addition, but it might be my favorite of all the collection on the front. On the back is the tail of a mermaid while they dive like down, like deeper underwater. And the shape of the tail was really hard to get down, and I didn't have like all the colors that I wanted with me at the time. And now I usually have to tell people what it is, like the mermaid tail, which isn't really the goal, you know. But I love anything ocean themed, so that's why this one's a favorite. Next is the lighter that I finished around Christmas. I went with this red and white peppermint design, and it ended up being a great exercise in symmetry because those lines were a pain in the butt. You can tell which side I finished first because the center on the white side is much more even, whereas on the red side, I was just kind of like going for it. Um, and then the edges of the lighter, I love the way the two sides converge, and overall, I think it feels very festive without being too like in your face Christmas. And while the design is really simple, this lighter was really freaking difficult, and I respect it a lot for that, and that's why it's a favorite. Actually got a bunch of lighters and bedazzling supplies for Christmas, and I really like these clipper lighters for patterns like this zebra pattern. I tried to keep the stripes thin so that I could keep the pattern like as detailed as possible, and like fit as much of the pattern as I could onto the lighter. I also covered the spine this time, and I was happy with how seamless it looks. This one is another keeper for me because I love the animal print. I think honestly, like the design came out perfect for me. I don't have a lot of notes. And I have a coat that actually matches this lighter perfectly. So, whenever I wear the coat, I have to bring that one with me whenever I'm out of the house. Finally, I wanted to introduce my basketball lighter. I thought this idea would give me a great chance to practice my line work and symmetry, which I had some trouble with because the brand, I think it's called Hers, like tapers near the bottom, so it was hard to keep everything aligned. It also doesn't always light super reliably, so I don't make a lot with this brand. But I think it looks like a dang basketball, and the headache it gave me alone earned it a spot on the favorites list. And that's all I have for now. All of these I made in 2023. Although I have made lighters in 2024, they just didn't make the favorites list. But we'll see what comes up next. I have some ideas for some other things I want to bedazzle, but I also have just a ton of blank lighters, so I'll still keep making these for sure. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.